Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. I wanted to start in the spirit of the ancestors that not too far from here, that on this ground, on the Capitol, the same Capitol that this administration has created a slush fund that they want to pay those that sought to destroy it. But those that actually built it, that were my ancestors, never got paid. And so since we talking about getting paid, because I'm from the South, and even where I grew up, 30 minutes from where I grew up, that is where my great-great-great-grandmother was purchased. And so as a direct descendant, that I can trace my lineage back to slavery, I stand here saying that here it is, that we are also talking about reparations as it's something new. It's nothing new. Matter of fact, my grandmother used to tell me that anytime that someone owes you a bill, keep your paperwork. You need receipts. And so today I came to bring receipts so we can kind of talk about it. Right here in this city, over 300 people were paid, the enslavers, not the slaves, that paid $300 a piece. Now, almost $1 million were given out to enslaved, and this is in the 1860s, that were given to those who literally supposedly lost their property. Let me tell you about what their property do. When I think about in 1860, 4 million enslaved black people were valued at more than $3 billion. Every railroad, that was more than every railroad, every factory, every bank in this nation combined. Also, if you look at all of the land, if you want to put it in comparison with the bodies, I'm not talking about our labor, I'm talking about the bodies of enslaved people. That when you look at, if you accumulate, it was 20% of the economy, that you equate that now to every single real estate, including all of these buildings, all the skyscrapers. Next time you go by stadiums, when you go by private and public, all of that together, all the real estate in this country only makes 15% of the economy, which means that if we were 20% of the economy, we were more. Every time you see a skyscraper or some land, really understand that that was the value of what black bodies did in this country. When we're saying cotton picked by enslaved hands made up nearly 60% of all American exports. Our bodies were taxed by this government, taxed on enslaved people, were the financial backbone of the southern state governments. Even the federal government taxed our bodies as property, and the Constitution itself collected $10 a head at the port. Our bodies were mortgaged. Banks took enslaved people as loan collateral. J.P. Morgan Chase has admitted its predecessor banks held 13,000 of our ancestors at collateral and came to own over 1,200 human beings. What that means is that the success of white men, black bodies paid the price. But the failure of white men, black bodies also paid the price. That in 1862, the federal government paid enslavers in this city up to $300 per person to be free. One person alone actually collected on 800 slaves and collected more than $18,000. The enslaver, not those who had experienced the harm.
Receipts.
Those are receipts. Britain paid its slaveholders 20 million pounds and are still paying it. And actually we're still paying its slaveholders up until 2015. Imagine that. So I say that in this moment, when we're talking about reparations, it's not like reparations have not been paid, but this country had the audacity to pay reparations to the former owners of the enslaved, quote, owners. Our bodies, not just our labor, paid for this country and literally with the economic foundation of this country, but actually our bodies, they were leveraged, they were mortgaged. That when you think about that we, not just in what we put in the ground, but and when there were the failures of those that took a bet on their, and literally would mortgage it 3 and 4 times, that ultimately what would wind up happening, our families were torn up.
Yes.
That we had to pay for their success and we also had to pay for their failures. With that, I will say that in this moment, as we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of this nation, let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth and let's stand on. When we're saying who is really old in this country, we stand alongside our Native American brothers and sisters and every single person who has been taken advantage of, who has been exploited. But we certainly, as black people in this country who are descendants, direct descendants of those who were enslaved, we stand. We will not forget. We will never forget. We're standing in this space because we got receipts.